Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
We have some initial talks with agents on whether they're extensions, whether they're, a reduction in pay, whether they're, just an outright waive. So there's a lot of decisions that have not been made yet. I know, we've got kind of a general ballpark on what we're going to have to do, but a lot of those decisions are yet to be determined. We still have a couple weeks yet before free agency starts, and we have to be at that cap number.
Right, that's the salary cap Grim Reaper Rick right there. Cloaked, dagger, walking up to Vikings players with fat salary cap numbers.
Knocking on the door with that scythe. Just
knocking on the agents' doors.
Harrison, come on out.
Anthony.
No, not
Adam.
Harrison. Mike would stand in front of he'd say, "Get away, Grim Reaper," from my guy, Harrison Smith.
Shamar, come out and play.
Oh, not Shamar. Oh, no, not that.
This is a 4-question Friday here, boys. I'm giving you the Arn Anderson 4 horsemen.
4 horsemen,
here.
baby.
The kind of the crooked 4-question Friday on Purple Daily. Mackey, Judd, Declan. And a 4-question Friday is always powered by our friends at Corona Hard Seltzer, where there's 4 flavors.
Who's the original 4 horsemen? It's Arn Anderson, Flair, Malenko.
No.
Not Malenko.
In fact, oh my God, I think Tully Blanchard, and then one of them actually wrestled on AEW last night for the first time in 20 years. One of the original 4 horsemen.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then
might have been Tully Blanchard actually.
And then I believe you have the 4 horse women in the women's revolution, which is Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Sasha Banks.
There you go.
And then you also have the 4 Corona Hard Seltzers, which is traditional lime, traditional lime, mango, cherry, and blackberry lime.
Yeah.
So all 4, baby. 4 horsemen. Corona Hard Seltzer, the only hard seltzer made with pure beach vibes with refreshing splash of fruit flavor. Corona Hard Seltzer is a tasty spiked sparkling water with a splash of natural fruit flavor that allows you to enjoy the moment. In each can, Corona Hard Seltzer has 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 90 calories, and is gluten-free. Relax responsibly. Corona Hard Seltzer, spiked sparkling water with natural flavors, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Question number 1 for you guys. Kyle Rudolph got the knock on the door from the salary cap Grim Reaper Rick.
It caught him completely by surprise, and he quickly churned out a 2,000-word essay.
Weird. Oh, my God.
The players.
I'm shocked. Let me whip something up quick.
I've been cut. Oh, no. What should I do? Here's 2,000 words.
So
I forgot Cousins.
So the Vikings still have to, they've got to slash some other players to get below the salary cap line.
It's not a hit.
Well, it is a salary cap hit.
That's true.
Who else do you think is likely to be cut? Not traded, but like, sorry, dude, you're cut. Who are some players you think? I mean, there's some obvious ones like Dan Bailey, Britton Colquitt, right? Like
Shamar Stephen at some point in time.
Yep. But among some of the less obvious ones, like Anthony Barr, Harrison Smith, Riley Reef, anyone else you can think of, will there be any sort of surprise cuts?
I don't know that any of those would be like a huge surprise, but I think so. I've heard very conflicting things about Barr, and it sounds like if they can get Eric Wilson back at the right price, that they actually might try to trade him, but they don't want to cut him, and they save a bunch if they cut him, but they also take a big dead cap hit there. And so cutting him is not ideal. If they could get a draft pick for him, let's say a 3rd-round pick, I think they would explore trading him. But I don't think he's going to be a cut right now. Like my gut tells me he would not be cut right now. That doesn't mean he'll be back on the roster. Harrison Smith, I think, comes back for sure. Restructured contract. It makes too much sense. I don't know that you want to start over completely at safety. Like I can see having 1, not 2 high-paid safeties as the Vikings did in 2021, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to completely slash that position down to the core. And so I think Smith comes back on a restructured and new deal that probably is reasonable, but gives him more guaranteed money in 2021. The one that won't surprise me, but would be a big hit, but I think might happen depending on what he says, Riley Reef, right?
Yeah. That's the big wild card right now.
He is due a salary cap hit if you keep him on his current contract of more than $11 million in 2021. That is enormous.
I think it's $17 million right now.
Oh, it's 17? I thought it was 11 million. But anyway.
The savings would be about like 12 after the $1 million bonus they gave him.
Ooh, anyway, it is massive. So he's got to come back almost certainly on a restructured deal. And again, I'm going to go back to the fact that when you made the Ngakoue trade last season, right before the season began, you basically went to Reef and said, well, you can go search for a job, and that's cool. You're not going to find one or come back on our terms. And he did it. And there seems to be a feeling that, well, yeah, but the Vikings gave him that $1 million bonus that they didn't have to after the season, and that makes it all good. I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
So that's the one where I think something has to give. I don't think you are trading him. I think you are either getting him to restructure or making a very difficult decision, but I don't see how he comes back on that deal. So that's mine, Riley Reef.
What about you, Dex?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious ones, the Britton Colquitts of the world and Dan Paley and look, Rick Spielman will always want it for whatever. Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer like go hand in hand with changing special teams year to year. It's honestly kind of frustrating at the same time. But I think with Harrison Smith, you're probably going to have to maybe do some type of new contract or a restructure. Like he has $0 in dead money right now. So you cut him pre-June 1st. It's nothing. So can you smooth out the 2021 cap number and give him a 2 to 3 year extension? I don't think you have to give him a 4 to 5 year deal at this point in his career. But can you smooth out the 2021 number to give him something more lucrative down the line in 22, 23? As a safety, I think his game translates over long term. Is he going to be the perennial Pro Bowler and first team Pro Football Focus guy was in his late to mid 20s? Maybe not. But is he still above average and linchpin in the defense?
Yeah,
absolutely. You need to have him involved for the next few years. So I think Harrison Smith's someone to probably watch as a restructure, a new contract down the road.
I actually think they might cut Anthony Barr. They're going to be looking for chunks. It can't just be Dan Bailey, right? Like Dan Bailey will save you $1.7 million to the cap, according to Spotrac.com. Anthony Barr will get you like $7 or $8 million, and then there's some more dead money next year. It's like $5 million in dead money next year. So you're going to be paying some dead money on that contract. But I could see them cutting Anthony Barr if he doesn't want to restructure that deal to help them going forward. Riley Reef, it kind of felt, I would have said Riley Reef, but it kind of feels like they gave him a little bonus there. Hey, we feel bad about the COVID thing at the end of the year and the whole breaking your arm before the season started to save money. I don't think if the mission is to win next year that they're just going to jettison their very good, reliable left tackle.
His cap hit, though, to your point, Phil, is $14.95 million. That is enormous. And if you cut him, Reef, I'm talking about, you have $3.2 million in dead cash on your cap, but you have a cap savings of 11.75.
Yeah.
So the Reef thing, just to me, is he's got to take a restructure or else you got trouble.
Yep. All right, question number 2. It came out, Stephen Weatherly broke his own news this week that he, after being cut by the Carolina Panthers, he has re-signed with the Minnesota Vikings. And Judd saw somewhere that it's going to be a couple $1 million. Doogie. Yeah, Doogie just told us on the scoop. And so he's got some bonuses and things that could get up to like $2.5 million. So Stephen Weatherly, he's only 26 years old. He'll be 27 years old, I believe, in March. Mm-hmm. Originally a 7th-round draft pick by the Vikings. And he kind of worked his way up as a good backup edge rusher. And then Carolina, so he was making, $500,000 with the Vikings. Carolina gave him $6.5 million last year because they needed some major help along the defensive line. He got hurt after 9 games. And so they decide we're not going to go on with year 2. Vikings bring him back. Your thoughts on Stephen Weatherly coming back?
I think it's a good signing. It's a guy that knows the system. And I believe during his time with the Vikings, he took himself from a 7th-round draft pick to a guy who I think in each of his last 3 seasons with the or 2 years with the Vikings had 3 sacks apiece for a total of 6. This is what you do when you as a team, and I mean, this is the absolute mind-boggling statistic, I think, among the stats from 2020 for the Vikings. You had 23 sacks as a team. 23 sacks as a team. I don't believe that this is the end of the pursuit of guys that can certainly rush from the edge, and the Hunter contract is also going to have to be worked out. But I would consider this to be a very solid depth move of a guy who could easily rebound and knows your system. So it actually does make a ton of sense.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is more, listen, if we can get some guys in the door that we know are going to be, $1-2 million, let's just get some guys that we know we can plug in if we need to, so that we feel a little bit more comfortable once free agency hits and the draft hits that we don't have anybody, right? So Weatherly, Odenabo, I think Shamar Stephen, because his cap hits like $5.5 million, is going to be gone from the interior defensive line. We'll see if there's a restructure there. But with Michael Pierce coming back, Michael Pierce actually has a lower cap number than Shamar Stephen does for next year now.
We're going to solve that problem
Yep.
very soon.
Dex, what about you? How does the Stephen Weatherly signing strike you?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's for $3 million. He'll make up toward the $3 million. He had a 53.7 PFF grade last year, so he was average and solid. He is probably an upgrade over Shamar Stephen and someone who probably is going to be a cap casualty. If you cut Stephen, it's only 1.3 against the cap with savings of 3.7. So I wouldn't be surprised either if he's also another casualty. But Stephen Weatherly, a Zimmer disciple, if you will, and probably fits in on the defensive line well.
Yeah. Question number 3 here is presented by our friends at Whamatech. Whamatech. If you're listening or watching on a broken down phone, tablet, or laptop, maybe it's time to not have a broken down phone, tablet, or laptop anymore.
It's very frustrating if they're broken, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we're already ugly enough if the screen's cracked.
And why do that to yourself?
Yeah. So Whamatech comes in as a trusted supplier of pre-owned cell phones, tablets, and laptops and new accessories. They source pre-owned devices directly and pass the savings on to you. They'll even buy your old device for cash. Buy, sell, trade in, whatever you need. Whamatech.com. That's WAMATEK.com. Question number 3 here. All right, boys. Since Kyle Rudolph snubbed Kirk Cousins in his 2,000-word Players Tribune piece,
if he had only had 2,002 words.
3,000 words, he might have been able to throw a mention in. What's the nicest thing you guys can think of to say to Kirk Cousins?
The world doesn't really hate you, Kirk. And you don't have to prove a thing to me. So take the pay cut and help your team out.
I don't know if that's
the world's not working against you. You've not been snubbed. Yes, you didn't get drafted in the first round, but you have made a ton of cash. You've actually been as far. I mean, look, you've played a ton in the National Football League. You've been ultra successful. I'm going full Stuart Smalley on Kirk to tell him you're good enough and people like you, but here's the thing. Because of that, take the pay cut and help your team out because they need pieces around you.
I think there might be a little underlying resentment there. If you're ranking the reasons why Rudolph wouldn't feel compelled to put his name in there.
I'm trying to help out. Yeah.
No, I'm saying on Kyle Rudolph's
part.
Yeah. I think Rudolph probably, he's not an idiot. He's clearly calculated and he knows that Kirk has been fighting for more guaranteed money throughout his life and career, right? And it may have led directly or indirectly to Kyle Rudolph not having a job with the Vikings anymore. I would just like to say, as critical as I have been of Kirk Cousins, you are a good quarterback. You are a great play action quarterback, and you do just need some help around you. And if you can get more help around you, you can maybe win a Super Bowl.
So take the pay cut.
Hard to put help around you when your cap hit is 17% of the salary cap in 2021.
I'm glad we're on the same page here.
Declan, what's the nicest thing you can say about Kirk Cousins?
Congrats on the money, dude. You got paid. That's awesome. I want to get paid. So, yeah, good job. Congrats on the money.
That was...
There you go. That's my compliment.
You didn't even try
you guys hate him so much.
You didn't even try and dress it up nicely like Phil and I did.
No. That's nice about it.
All right. Such Kirk haters. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, let's talk about Zach Parise for a second.
All right. Question number 4 here. So, the NFL and the NFLPA are sort of going over various potential rule changes, and there's some other stuff we'll get to probably early next week, like overtime proposals and things.
Sure.
Well, one of the proposals from the ownership side is that they would like to explore making roughing the passer penalties reviewable, which we've been talking about for years. Like, if you're going to throw a flag on a game-altering 15-yard penalty because you thought you saw a quarterback get swiped upside the head and really he didn't, that should be reviewable. So I love this. How do you guys feel about roughing the passer being reviewable?
I want to know more about how we would go about this, though, because I thought that when they put in the ability to review PI penalties after the Saints-Rams debacle, I thought that was going to be great because it sounded great. And then it got really screwed up and we were not calling things and we were So I love the idea on the surface. I'd like to know more about the actual execution if we're going to go there. And are officials now going to adjust how they call this penalty because they feel a freedom to screw it up or to not call it because they can go back and look? I don't know. So I guess what I learned the last time around that they put in a rule like this, and I thought, okay, they finally got it right.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really work, and then it was stripped out after a year's trial. I would like to know more details about the actual nuances of how this would go down.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Judd there, and I just don't want to get in the habit of slowing down the NFL game even more. I hate to be anti-replay guy, but also, can there be limits? Can you only do it once per game?
Well, it would be within your challenge
within
structure.
your challenges.
Yeah.
So
or within the final 2 minutes of a half.
For sure. So I'm with Judd. I'm for it, but I want more details on what the plan is for it.
So I love it because it's these 15-yard penalties are, I mean, it'll literally put a team in field goal range to win a game, or put a team, out of the shadow of their own end zone.
Yep.
And a lot of the calls are legitimate, but there's a lot of phantom calls too, where guys just get tapped on the side of the head or something, or like Clay Matthews a few years ago had 3 textbook perfect tackles of quarterbacks, literally
including Cousins.
Midsection.
That cost the Packers that game.
And got flagged a bunch of times because the NFL was trying to prove a point. Well, if those are reviewable, you go back and say, oh, okay, sorry.
But is the weight thing still there now? Like if I land on a quarterback with half my weight, that's
right.
too much of my weight. These are all things I want to know. And could you challenge one that was not called, or is this just for ones that are called?
That's a good question.
So if my quarterback gets slapped upside the head,
you could probably challenge that.
I'm much for this than I am, excuse me, I'd rather them change spot of the foul defensive PI calls. I think that's just a trash play. If you keep up a ball 50 yards and there's some jamming, and then where the penalty was, you just get to move down the field 40, 50 yards, I think that's BS. I can't.
It feels like a 15-yard penalty.
It should be 15 yards.
But the problem with that one is late in games. Then what the comeback to that is, because I agree, Dex, with your point completely. The comeback that I've gotten to that idea is that what happens late in games, though, if I just grab a guy, because I don't care if I take the penalty of 15 yards.
Yeah.
I just don't want the pass cut in the end zone. That's the comeback.
Could we switch it to inside 4 minutes of the half? Those pass interference penalties change to spot fouls if it's beyond 15 yards.
Good.
So that you can decentivize guys just grabbing.
It does drive me nuts, though. It's silliness sometimes.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's your 4-question Friday here on Purple Daily with Mackey and Judd and Dex.
Do we have all 4?
I think we did 4. Pretty sure. Yeah, we did 4. If you want a 5th one, maybe we'll do a Judd Zulgad Instagram Live.
If you have a 5th one, throw it out there, baby. I got all the time in the world.
Yeah, well, I've got a 5th one for potentially Clubhouse. I'm going to launch a Clubhouse post-game show.
Clubhouse, by the way?
And I'll invite you guys. Declan and I were tinkering around yesterday. We might do a little Purple Daily Clubhouse action here next week.
I don't even know what Clubhouse is.
You got to be invited.
Yeah, it's fine. It's an EP thing. You want to get it.
Yeah. You're not invited.
Why aren't you guys inviting me? Ageists.
Yeah, that's why.
Hey, I could file a lawsuit now. This is great. I can retire.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us on Purple Daily. We'll see you guys tomorrow.